Early this year I started posting chapters from my novel A's for Angelica. I would sit there and I would read to you and then I would publish it on YouTube. And at the time I said something very silly. I said that I was going to post every single chapter from the novel, and it's about 250 pages. So I knew it would take a long time. On reflection, it probably wasn't a good idea. Not because, I don't particularly want to do it, but because I don't think that there's really enough hours in the day when you have 2 children and a second book to write. And also, let's be honest, it probably isn't the best way to experience a novel. It's not quite the same as an audiobook, which you can take with you and do what you like at the same time. But anyway, rather than leave those first 6 chapters hanging with me repeatedly saying that I was going to finish the rest of the novel, I thought I would give you one last chapter, explain that I wasn't going to be doing it anymore, and leave it at that. Apart from the fact that I probably will still post the odd extract, but it will be much shorter. I will probably try and do it without looking down at the book like that, and hopefully they will be particularly interesting and impactful, which is, I think, a word. So this is the 7th chapter of A's for Angelica, my debut novel. There it is. Look at that, I made that. And it's called Dr. Jonathan Morris. And it's slightly silly. Dr. Morris is a suspected paedophile. I trust him completely. He replaced Dr. Richmore, and this is his first practice. He's only 28 years old and was accused of manhandling a 13-year-old girl within a fortnight of starting at the surgery. She said he'd pushed her against a wall and tried to lift her skirt up from behind. There were parents with placards for more than a week. It turned out she was pregnant and they disappeared. Because it's not like she hadn't been manhandled before. Dr. Morris was cleared a few days later. She'd been making it up. But mud sticks. I'm here to see him. The waiting room is full of uncomfortable people on uncomfortable sofas. They sit in silence. Their children ask questions like, "How much longer, Mum?" And "What's wrong with you anyway?" But they never get an answer, just a dirty look or a slap on the leg. The sofas line the edge of the room like a skirting board. There's a coffee table covered with women's magazines, 3 beer mats jammed under one of the legs. The only time anyone moves is when a name gets called. There's usually a pause, then someone stands up. All heads turn and look at the person daring to be next in the queue, sneer until they reach the door to the corridor that leads to the doctor, because they dared to get called in before them. I sit as close to the door as possible. "Stephen Johnson, please." There's the pause. A young woman holds her hand out to the boy sitting next to her. He's got slug-like snot trails up his sleeves and a shaved head, which means he's more than likely had nits. He grabs her hand and she drags him across the room. His feet barely touch the ground. She opens the door, puts her palm on the back of his bald head, and shoves him into the corridor. "Hello, Mrs. Johnson." "Hello, Stephen. Come in, sit down." He's left the intercom on. "How can I help?" "Turn the intercom off. Please turn the intercom off." "It's him. He's still pissing his pants. He's making my life a misery." The waiting room moves. The young couple in the corner shuffle closer together. They hold hands and look at the floor. A man in his 70s picks up a copy of Vogue and starts flicking through the pages. A woman starts coughing. Then someone else starts coughing. Now we're all coughing. But it makes no difference. We can hear everything. It's not uncommon for a child of Stephen's age to have this problem. Have you spoken to him about it? Is there anything bothering him at school? It could be stress. He's 8 years old. That doesn't matter. If he's worried about something, he could still be suffering from stress. That could be why he's wetting himself. There it is again. Only a politer version. The waiting room shakes. Smiles crack all over. These people are supposed to be ill. "Stephen, is there anything you want to talk about? Are you having problems at school?" "No." "Do you like school?" "No." "Do you have any nice friends there?" "No." "Are you a good boy for your mum?" "Yes." "Mrs. Johnson?" "He's a little bastard." I think Stephen is suffering from stress. I think that you should go to school and have a word with the teachers. In the meantime, there's something we can do to help. He'll take anything. We can provide him with special underwear. There's a shuffling of papers, an opening of drawers, a sound like a telephone struggling to connect. Then there is silence. "Do you think he knows he left it on?" says the woman next to me. But I don't answer because Angelica is backing into the door and pushing it open with her high heel, shaking her umbrella. She's wearing a long black coat with fluffy cuffs. She has her hood up. Now she's talking to the girl on reception. She's taking her hood down. It's definitely Angelica. "Gordon Kingdom, please," says the voice over the intercom. She's asking the girl something, but I can't hear what she's saying. I think they're arguing, or Angelica's arguing. The girl is smiling. The moment Angelica turns her back, the girl will spin round to the nurse flicking through files behind her. She'll mouth the word bitch, or something worse. "Gordon Kingdom, please, Gordon Kingdom." I stand up, get ready for the sneers. But Mrs. Johnson drags Stephen back into the waiting room and everyone looks at him instead. She's got him by the wrists. There's a bulge around his waistline. It looks like he's wearing a rubber ring beneath his tiny trousers. "Is that thing turned off?" "What thing?" "The intercom." "Of course it is. Come in, sit down." Let me get my coat off. "So, how are we?" "We're fine." "Good to hear. How can I help? Just the prescription?" "No, I'd like everything checked." "Gordon, I checked everything last time. Everything looks fine. I want to know how you're feeling in general. I want to know how you're coping. Are you still writing things down?" All that stopped. "That's fine now. I feel fine." "You're not forgetful?" "I make a few notes." "Oh, that's good." "But I'm sure I get headaches." "We've been over this before. It's the stress. It's inevitable." "I want everything checked." "There's no point, Gordon. It's a waste of time. For both of us." "I want everything checked." Dr. Morris has a notice board stuck to the wall behind his desk. I stare at it while he pokes and prods me. It's covered in leaflets and information booklets. A mixture of colours and slogans. Do this, eat that, say no. Don't be caught without one. 0% interest-free credit. Buy one, get one free. There are 6 anti-smoking posters. They make me want a cigarette and I don't even smoke. They're for the drivers. The men in lorries, dozers, bowsers and dumpers. The 120s, the D8s and the 777s. This is a town surrounded by coal and men in their machines. 11 hours a day, always smoking, one after another. A constant flow of toxins sucked inside. Men barely talking out the sides of their mouths. Men who have no need to talk. Always alone in a cabin full of smoke and dust. It was in the paper. One of the lorries head first off the face of the cut. The driver hung over the steering wheel, his lifeless face pressed against the windscreen, the yellow hairs in his moustache splayed all over. Pictures of a 200 loading shell picking up the broken lorry like a metal parent. It was summer, the driver's bare chest ripped open by the fall, his black lungs coated with earth and glass, layer upon layer of dirt. His grey heart giving up, submitting. A group of men dragging him from his cab, laying him on the floor, standing over him with their hands on their hips. Their machines still humming where they left them, a mixture of half grief and silence from the sides of their mouths. They're supposed to read these posters and care. "There's nothing wrong with you, Gordon." "Have you checked?" "Yes, I've checked. You know I've checked. I always check. There's still nothing wrong with you." "Okay. Let me sign your prescription. What about the headaches?" "Maybe you should try to get more sleep. Drink plenty of water." "I drink tea. And I've started baking." "That's fine. Drinking tea is fine. Try drinking water as well. You'd be surprised what difference a glass of water can make." "What do you bake?" "I don't really drink water." "Well, now would be a good time to start." "Sometimes it comes out brown." "I bake cakes." "You can always buy water from the supermarket or the shop. They sell it everywhere. Water. It's good for you." "I'm not paying for water." "It's up to you. Here's Georgina's prescription." "How is she?" "She's fine." "I should really see her soon. It would be nice to meet her, check her over." "I don't think that will be necessary." Well, I'm glad she's doing well, but you should still make her an appointment. Dr. Morris hands me the prescription. He stands up, walks to the door, and opens it. I should follow him, but something stops me. I stay seated, my back to him, staring at the colours and slogans. "Gordon," he says, closing the door again. Dr. Morris returns to his desk, stands on my side, and puts his hand on my shoulder. I want to put my hand on his, but I don't. He's not here for comfort. "What if it happens to me?" I say. He pauses for 1, 2, 3 seconds. Then he shakes my shoulder and removes his hand. He walks back to the door and turns the handle. "Gordon, you're absolutely fine. Just get some rest and look after yourself. You know where I am if anything happens." "Thank you, Doctor. I trust your judgment. No problem at all. You did nothing wrong." "Sorry?" "That girl." "Right. I know that, Gordon." Angelica is still arguing with the receptionist. There's no sign of Mrs. Johnson or her son. I wonder if he's on his way home or being dragged around shops, his new underpants full to the brim, urine sloshing around the tops of his legs. I stand behind Angelica, hold my breath so she can't feel it on her neck. That's how close I am. She has her hair in a ponytail and a spot beneath her hairline. It looks ripe for squeezing. I could squeeze it. "Olivia Sargent, please." An elderly woman struggles to stand up. She holds her walking stick at an angle and tries to force herself upright. What little weight she has relies upon that stick. I picture a child running up and kicking it from under her, bored with waiting for her bones to work. I imagine the old woman's withered frame tumbling to the floor like a vase to concrete. She starts making her way across the room towards the door to the corridor that leads to the doctor's. Her feet make tiny steps. Her hands shake. No one goes to help her. No one says, "Would you like a hand?" or "Let me take your bags for you." Everyone sits and stares. Just a room full of eyes. "Olivia Sargent, please. Olivia Sargent." I turn my head and take a deep breath while no one is watching. I hold it for as long as possible. Angelica smells of perfume and cigarettes. Someone else's habit in my nostrils. I imagine feeling young again. Then I breathe out. I wonder if she felt it. I wonder if she can smell the breakfast on my breath. I think about sitting in the kitchen, waiting for the toaster to pop. Breakfast with Angelica. "When are you going to fix that toaster?" she says. "There's nothing wrong with the toaster. It sparks blue when you put the toast in." "You don't put toast in the toaster. You put bread in the toaster." "Don't be clever. It needs fixing." "I'll do it at the weekend." She comes and sits on my knee. Her dressing gown presses against my skin. She puts her arm around my neck and her hand through my hair. She spills crumbs down us both, then brushes them off with my tie. We sit at the table. I hold her close. Bounce her up and down like a baby. She laughs, and every time she bounces, it jars her belly. So she laughs even harder. We laugh together. Then I kiss her goodbye and leave for work. "Keep your fucking prescription," she says. "And by the way, you've got lipstick on your teeth." The girl behind reception sits in silence and smiles sweetly as Angelica flicks her ponytail and marches out the door, straight past me. She watches through the window, holds out her arm and raises her middle finger. Then she rubs her teeth with it. I keep watching Angelica as she walks across the car park. She stumbles and bends down to put her shoe back into place. A man walks around the corner. He's wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase. Angelica stands up quickly. They stop, exchange glares, say nothing. The man walks away to wherever he's going. Angelica stands on the tarmac. White lines all around her. Boxes for cars just waiting for owners, like dogs tied to lampposts. Yeah, that really was quite long, wasn't it? Sorry about that.